Hey, look, it's the Doublewide Dudes. Woo, watch out. All right. Welcome back to the Doublewide Dudes podcast. Mousetrap's sitting along here with AP, ready to tackle another episode on starter homes. Give you guys some good information. But I can't continue without talking about that play in Golden State.
We have to. Yeah, I mean, Spurs were up 23 points going into third quarter.
Yeah.
Right? Kawhi Leonard goes down. And did you see the interview with Popovich today?
Yeah.
He never talks that much.
I know.
Ever. And he was a little heated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had a good point. I mean, unnatural closeout is what he called it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of controversy out there on the social feeds. You know, was he intentional or not? And I got to say, based on the guy's rap sheet, I think he did it on purpose.
All right. I mean, if he's done it before and someone like Kawhi is beating you by 23 points, are you going to sneak it in there? I mean, what are you going to do? You know,
I mean, the spirit of the game, you got to respect that. That's that guy's profession.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you're getting your tail kicked, I mean, Harden, they've lost by almost 40, and he wasn't trying any of the cheap stuff like that. You know, take it on the chin, move on. You live to play another day. You know.
Yeah, that was an impressive win though. The Game 6 in Houston
definitely was.
Closing it out in their home court. But yeah, no, I was at HEB for halftime picking up some goods, and you know, I didn't even catch the first part of the game. You know, doing Mother Day stuff, and I saw the score. I was like 63-42. I was like, dang, in Golden State, and I was really surprised to see that score, man. That's, you know, so in my head I was like, all right, we already got game one. I'm already thinking that we got this one in the bag. Pretty excited about it. Not only to drive home, turn on the TV, and they made an 18-0 run, and now we're up only by 3 or 4 points. You know.
Yeah. I think the whole world was shocked to see that we even stood a chance as a team. But we beat Houston in Game 6 without Kawhi, and that's a true team. Mm-hmm. But how was the rest of your Mother's Day? I know you got to spend it with your mama.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. They came up from McAllen, her and my dad. Saturday, we actually got to spend the day at your house for Maddie's birthday party.
Yeah, it was nice. Nice to have everybody there, your nephew there, chasing around my little girl. It was a good time. Yeah. And, I mean, that's, to me, what home ownership's really all about, is having friends and family and just getting to share the events in life with those around you that matter most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, having the house and being able to have the privacy to host a party like that, you know, and having my family meet your family for the first time, we had a good time.
Yeah, they're all fans of the Doublewide Dudes.
Yeah. I mean, they better be the family, you know?
Right. You know, there's a lot of benefits and a lot of pros that come with home ownership, you know, but you can't talk about that without also recognizing the disadvantages of owning a home. And the reality is, this is the biggest single financial decision that most of our customers and most people out there will ever make.
Yeah.
It's not one to be taken lightly. You know, in today's day and age, it's actually easier to get out of a marriage than it is a mortgage.
Right.
And, you know, when folks sign up for a mortgage, they're signing up for a 20, 30-year commitment. And there's a lot of things to consider, Mousetrap.
Yeah, it's got to be something that, you know, they've planned out and make sure the timing's right.
Right.
You know, you never want to rush into a decision of this magnitude and possibly getting yourself into some trouble where financially you can't afford it, or you jump the gun on finding your dream home and now you're really stuck in a bad situation.
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to consider is it's a long-term financial commitment. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I related a lot to dating, and that's what renting's really all about. You know, most folks aren't going to meet the man or woman of their dreams that first go around. And that's what dating's all about, figuring out what you like, what you don't like, personality types and whatnot. And that's the biggest benefit that renting owns potential home buyers. You know, you get to find out what neighborhoods you like. You get to find out what budget you're comfortable with. You know, what you can afford, what other bills come along with being out on your own. You know, cable, cell phone bill, electric, water, all of that stuff's your responsibility, whether you're renting or you own a home. And, you know, it's a good first step for a lot of folks out there to get their feet wet by becoming a renter first.
Yeah. Yeah, the bills can stack up quickly. You know, if it's going to be your first time moving into your own place and, you know, you're starting to get everything into your own name, by the time you know it, not only are you paying for your rent, but there's an extra $300-400 in expenses.
Yeah.
You know, and being a homeowner, that can be your responsibility. And without planning on it, something can hit and it can really put you in a bind. I mean, I've been renting for quite a while now, and just the other day my AC went out. You know, it was actually on Mother's Day, this past Sunday.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Why y'all were cooking, huh?
Yeah, we were here watching the game and making some cheesecake. My dad was whipping up 2 pies that I was going to bring you guys. We talked about on Saturday. So,
Yeah.
But the place got hot. Like, even I had it down to 72, 71, and it just continued to rise from 80 to 82. And I sent an email to my landlord this morning, and he told me he's going to send an HVAC guy out. Yeah, and it was real nice, so that's going to be taken care of.
Yeah. And then those are the things you've got to think about when you're deciding, is the time right for you to buy a house? You know, if your AC goes out and you're a homeowner, well, financially, that burden of getting that repaired is going to fall on you. Something as simple as the handle on a toilet, you know, takes time and takes a little bit of money, and it's you know, there's some benefits to figuring out what you're comfortable with and what works for you by first renting.
Yeah.
Right, and having that, I guess, safety net. You know, it's a landlord's responsibility to make sure the home's in good working order.
Yeah. It really was a relief when I know I was going to get that taken care of without having to come extra out of pocket. You know? I mean, ACs are expensive.
Yeah.
And if there's something that I have to get replaced, that's just an extra expense that I wasn't prepared for. Things like that is why you have to plan ahead to make sure you have the funds separated accordingly.
Right.
Right? So it's not just down payment that you have to focus on, or do I have enough for the bank to get me approved? You know, once you pay the down payment, do you have money set up for these type of emergencies? Right? Those are the things you have to consider.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were just talking about the cost of maintenance on a home, and the last thing you want to do is spend every penny you have on the down payment and, you know, have 1 or 2 things happen on your house and you end up foreclosing. You know, that's really the reason, if someone is to foreclose, why they do. I mean, everybody would like to keep their home, but other than a change of employment, you know, typically something goes wrong with the house that wasn't expected, and it taps you financially.
Yeah.
You know, so what we typically recommend for customers is, beyond the down payment, to have at least 6 months of the mortgage put away in savings, and you know, not money for a vacation if something doesn't break tomorrow.
Yeah.
Money that's just there for the what ifs.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, the what ifs are going to happen.
Yeah, 100%. And there's other things that are guaranteed to happen that aren't necessarily what ifs, AP. I mean, like, for example, homeowners insurance. You know, it's going to be a lot more than renter's insurance.
Right.
The electric. I mean, when you get into a bigger house, your bill's going to go up, you know, to cover all the square footage of the home you just bought.
Yeah.
Water. I mean, if you have a nice big yard, it's going to take water to keep those plants alive, and taking time to keep those manicured. Right. When the fall comes around, you're going to have to rake those leaves, mow the lawn. Those are expenses that are definitely higher when you own a home versus renting.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
Maintenance is a lot higher when you're the homeowner versus a tenant.
Yeah, you have to take those things into consideration. Another important factor is the location, right? If you have young kids and if you're looking to put them in a good school district, the location is everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, drive time to work, drive time to family, friends. Location's huge.
Yeah, it is. And that reminds me of my brother. When he decided to move up to San Antonio from McAllen in 2015, he went with buying a house first. And, you know, I'd been living here 8 years prior, and I had recommended some good locations, you know, thinking of what him and his family would like. And they went with a house in the northwest part of town. And when they were deciding, I don't know if the school district was something that they were keeping in mind, but when they moved up in 2015, Isaac was just turning 2, I believe. And you fast forward 2 years later, they sold their home, and now they're renting in a part of town that they like spending most of their time in. And now that they had their second kid, and Isaac's about to start kindergarten, the school district was one of the main reasons they chose that location where they're at now. So Isaac can attend somewhere that has good ratings.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool getting to talk to them when they're out there Saturday. They're actually looking to put your nephew in the elementary school that my brother and I went to.
Really?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. Location's huge. And not to say that once you buy a home, you're 100% stuck to that location. Mm-hmm. You can obviously, like they did, sell the home and move. It's just a lot easier to do so when you're renting and have a 1-year lease instead of a 20 or 30-year mortgage.
Yeah. And having the flexibility of renting is going to help you pinpoint a location that you actually like.
Right.
I mean, it's done it for me. I've hopped around San Antonio for 10 years now, renting different locations, and I finally found a spot that I really enjoy. Right here, North 281, right above downtown. I feel it's the perfect location for me to just live my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. I got a lot of friends down here. Work is downtown. I use my bike to commute everywhere. It contributes to my overall happiness. It really does.
Yeah.
So the location for me, once I found this spot, when I'm ready to buy, which is hopefully here in the next few years, it's going to be in this area.
Yeah. And
having the flexibility of renting and looking at different locations has finally helped me choose an actual place that I want to call home.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if like you or your brother, you're from a different city, mm-hmm. you don't really know where you're moving, and you can read in magazines and talk to people, but it's, no one's going to have the same taste that you do.
Exactly.
Especially you, Mousetrap. I think you're still trying to figure out what country you want to live in, much less what part of town, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely making a hub here in San Antonio. I love this city. But home ownership is pretty much everyone's goal. Right, I know it's my goal. The advantages is you get your privacy. Right now I live in an apartment, and I just can't play my instruments the way I want to, or at the times that I want. So privacy is going to be a good thing. It's definitely a good investment because you're not throwing money away. The tax incentives, let's not forget about that. At the end of the year, you can write off the interest, right? And then just pride in owning a home. Now that you found a place that you want to live at, you're going to take care and put more thought into your home. That's going to actually help you strive and be a better part of the community.
Right.
Yeah,
there's a ton of advantages towards owning a home. And it's definitely the best option in the long term, mm-hmm. right? But it's a huge decision, and it's one that needs to be entered into with a lot of thought, not just in the here and now, but with the long term in mind as well. Mm-hmm. It is a long-term commitment. Generally 20 to 30 years. It typically is a little bit more expensive than renting when you consider things like insurance and higher utility cost and the maintenance costs and repairs. And although it doesn't permanently tie you down, you do lose a little bit of that flexibility. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy to pack up and go when you own a home and when you're tied to that 20 or 30-year mortgage. There's a little more upfront cost, typically a higher down payment than your first or last month's rent. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that scares people, and it should, is the potential of getting foreclosed on, of losing your home. And the last thing we want to see is someone achieve their dream of home ownership just to have the rug pulled out from under them mm-hmm. a couple years down the road because they didn't account for things that we know are going to happen. Mm-hmm. So tremendous amounts of advantages, but a lot of things you've got to keep in mind to make sure you're not going into it blindly.
Yeah. You got to be prepared to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And it's definitely research and grit is going to get you to the right places.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that does it for this episode, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. That accounts for episode number 3 on the Starter Home series. We'll give you guys a couple more episodes to get you guys all the information you'll need to get into your first home. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you in the next one.